Maximum News, I'm Max at Syb. Yeah, the Game Awards were last night. A whole bunch of crap was announced. Let's talk about it. Hold on. It's called the Game Awards. It was more like the Game Announcement Show. I'm not really complaining, though. That's all I really cared about while watching it. Although I will say, it was nice seeing that my favorite game of the year, and probably one of my all-time favorite games, It Takes Two, took home a bunch of awards, including Game of the Year. Rightfully so. Just a little bit disappointed that when Joseph Ares got up on stage to accept the award, the entire audience didn't go F Take Two. As kudos to him, but you can't have everything. But
I have to say that as far as the bulk winner was It Takes Two, which is
great.
A game by a guy who's very, anti-establishment, likes to, ruffle feathers. And I'm going to say I was impressed at the fact that they won. I really was. I don't think this is some kind of like bellwether change as far as the game awards go, because there were a lot of ones, like some of the smaller awards that you would have thought would have gone to more indies went to like the establishment. And when I say the establishment, I don't mean that there's an actual establishment that runs gaming. What I mean is the conglomeration of big corporations that, tend to run the ring, right? And so because they're running the ring, they tend to award this stuff to themselves more often than not. So it's good to see this. And you might say that this has something to do with more of the game developers in these big companies starting to say, we're not being your guys' patsies anymore. So there is that. That's probably like the best thing. That's like the best outcome that this could allude to, but it may not necessarily allude to that, or it may not necessarily allude to anything. It might just be that it was just a really good game, and a lot of people looked at it and said, yeah, it's a really good game.
Yeah.
But why some of these other ones won, I don't know. So it's interesting. You would have thought that, again, with the best actor, that again it went to somebody who was fairly new. It didn't go to a hardcore, there was several Hollywood elites there, and it didn't go to them. And so you got to say, all right, well, and this has been like the fifth or sixth year that this has happened since they started doing that. And so I've got to say that that's a good sign, because it seems to be that we are honoring the
games that deserve
effort. Yeah. The characters that, do it well and have really good directors. I think every actor that was up there this year for that award was actually fairly well deserving of it. There's been others in the past where, sure, their performance was okay, but like the game wasn't received that well, and somehow it won the award, right? And so there's been stuff like that. But, I've got to say that overall, I was more or less happy with the outcome of the show in general. So yeah, we'll dig into that.
Yeah, it's whether it is actually a sign towards the game
Changing
awards being
times,
merit based. It's hard to say. What we can take solace in is that many of, if not all, of the awards that were rewarded went to the people that truly deserved it. Like, I'm looking at the stuff here right now. I see best score music. Obviously, Near Replicant got that because it is the best. Best audio design, Forza Horizon. It deserves it. Best performance, Maggie Robertson, new, and she did a great job. It wasn't just the character model. There was a lot of personality that she brought to that character herself. Best ongoing game, I'd say Final Fantasy XIV probably deserved that most. Keynote Bridge of Spirits, I didn't play it, but it looks great, and I've heard great things. And then, just Genshin Impact winning Best Mobile Game. Okay, maybe not all of them, but in Best VR AR. Yeah, so I'm looking through this list, and it seemed like they nailed it across the board. And guys, some of you might be looking at, who won Game of the Year and saying, oh, Psychonauts 2 should have won it. Oh, Metroid Dread should have won it. Honestly, the people that say that are people that have not played It Takes Two. If you have not played It Takes Two, I highly recommend you find somebody to play it with. It is the best time I've had playing a game all year, and probably in the last several years. There is so much creativity and so much imagination that went into that game that it's unlike most things that I've seen in the gaming medium in my entire life. It really is that good. And I know it doesn't seem like that on the outside looking in, but it really is. So please go check it out if you haven't already. Saib, have you ever played It Takes Two?
No, I have not.
Oh, dude, you and Moon would have the time of your lives playing that game.
I don't know. I can get kind of like into these kinds of games, and it's all about like winning and stuff. So yeah, I tend to be I tend to shy away from doing too many like community games with other people because like I'm hyper competitive. So I don't know. We'll see. It's clearly like it's way more on my list of things to try now than ever before. So
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, sorry, just got a message there. All right, so let's go into some of the things that popped up at the awards. Even though we give them kudos for the awards and them going to the right people, I primarily at least watch this show for the announcements that were made, and that's what a lot of people watch it for. So we'll go through.
It's kind of a work requirement for us to like actually tune in because there were a fair amount of announcements. Like there was a lot of announcements, like the new Scott Pilgrim game. I'm like, I don't know if I'm excited about this or like semi-excited about this or what. So yeah, and I'm joking. Obviously, there's not a new Scott Pilgrim game, but there's a game that basically is the premise of Scott Pilgrim. So yeah.
Yeah, but wait, what game are you talking about?
I don't remember what it is, but the game tag is fight your parents, disappoint your parents. Sorry, fight your exes, disappoint your parents, find yourself.
Oh, yeah, I don't.
So that's the actual like tag name of the thing, and it is basically like this over the top, like it's an over the top fighting / like mini game where the main character fights a bunch of her exes.
Oh, I remember what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of what it was either. See, the problem is, guys, that when the Game Awards were on, I had it on one monitor, and on the other monitor, I was playing Halo Infinite. Because it's like there's a whole bunch of stuff that I wasn't expecting to show up during the show. Usually it's just a few announcements that you care about, and then... Sorry, go ahead.
One of the presenters, one of the Hollywood presenters was like pretending to watch like a streamer play Halo.
Shang-Chi,
yeah, whilst also giving the award. Was sort of funny. I gotta say, the cringe, there was of course several cringe presenters, but there was some really solid ones that night too. So anyways, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
try and keep this in order as much as we can. Sorry, I know.
Yeah, didn't you know though, Saib? It's pronounced Genshin Impact and not Genshin Impact.
Yeah, who knew? Everybody's been pronouncing Genshin Impact wrong all this time.
Yeah. Oh well. I mean, despite those one or two moments during the show where people pretending to be gamers kind of showed their hand, the majority of the night it was a decent celebration of what was in the year of gaming and what is to come. Even though, for me personally, there were only like a handful of things that were announced that I'm actually truly excited about. I think that looking at the responses that people have had online to everything that was announced, it seems like there's a handful of things for every type of gamer that was announced last night. And because of that, I think that you got to call this a win. It's got to be one of the better years for the Game Awards, at least in that regard. So we're going to go through all the things that were announced. But first, I'm just going to go through my top 5. Saib, I don't know if you have one at the ready. And then after that, we'll just go through the list of the things that were announced that I didn't bring up in my top 5. So my 5th favorite announcement / reveal / whatever is the Halo TV trailer. This, obviously, if you know me, I'm a huge fan of Halo. I have been waiting to see something live action, be it in the form of movie or TV, since around 2006. Do you remember this, Saib, when it was announced that Peter Jackson was going to be producing a Halo movie and that the guy who directed District 9 was going to direct it? And then that whole thing fell apart?
There was a whole bunch of footage from it too. I saw some of it, and
It looked
it
decent.
looked really promising. And then it just kind of, I think that's the time where Microsoft put somebody in charge over there at Xbox and said, "Hey, we want you to just royally just screw everything up constantly. Like, we know that we hired you because you have a decent enough track record for running things, but we just want you to take all the experience that you have with running a proper company, and we just want you to like throw it against the wall and light it on fire, and then just do like wake up and ask yourself, what's the dumbest thing I could do today as far as running this company goes, and then do that.
Mm.
It's completely normal,
I,
apparently.
I'm wondering if it was actually the guy that was around when Xbox One was announced, because I feel like it was. But I might be wrong about that. But yeah, seeing the Halo TV trailer, even though it was a minute long, it did feel really good to finally see that dream come to fruition and to know that it's not that far away when we're going to be able to see our first few full episodes. And it seems like they're trying to tell sort of their own story while still somehow remaining true to the characters from the games and the books. And I'm intrigued, like, seeing like the Pelican and the Marines, and obviously the iconic weapons, and of course Master Chief. I did one thing that is sort of gonna like take a point or give a point to the show is whether or not Master Chief's voice sounds okay, because I know they got Jen Taylor back to do Cortana, but it'd be kind of weird to have her playing Cortana and not have Steve Downes doing the voice. But I don't know what the deal is with that yet. But if they don't, it could kind of take me out of it. But nonetheless, I'm very excited. It just means that Halo is back in an even greater way, and the momentum is going to carry on from Halo Infinite. Anything else you want to say on that side?
Well, I mean, there was that like, what was it, like Halo Forward Unto Dawn.
Yeah, that was
Like, I
okay.
think it was like a mini series. I did not like how they killed off one of the characters. I was like, no, no, no. I really wanted them to stay. Like, I was so annoyed with that. But I mean, I like, again, I know it wasn't the actual thing, but yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the next one. What did I have here on my list? Okay, yeah, Slitterhead. Obviously, I'm a big Silent Hill guy. It's the number one thing that I'm basically known for on the internet is covering Silent Hill, analyzing it. And the fact that the guy who created the original Silent Hill, Keiichiro Toyama, is going to be directing this new horror game, and the guy who's composing it, Akira Yamaoka, also scored the original Silent Hill games. That immediately gets my attention. I'm immediately excited. It doesn't have the same tone as Silent Hill, granted, but nonetheless, it's those guys. I'm gonna check it out. Saib, are you? You're probably not as anywhere near as excited as I am for this, just by default. But where's your like? What did you think of the trailer that they put out?
I thought it was okay. I mean, I like. I think they're great things, and I have played them. Um, the concepts are always like very interesting, but sometimes like the symbolism kind of gets a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
But that's fine. Like, it's totally, like, again, that's a stylistic choice, and I never critique something based off of a stylistic choice. I've always ranted against people who review a game and they're like, "Well, I'm only gonna give it a 7 out of 10 because it's a racing game." You see, and I don't actually like racing games, and I'm not good at them either. But it's like a 7 out of 10. It's like, why did you review the game if you don't like racing games?
Right. It's like a feminist
So
reviewing Senran Kagura.
yeah, it's like we don't need necessarily this like attitude of like, I'm gonna downvote something because I just don't like this style. It's like I really didn't like the mushrooms that they served with supper because I hate mushrooms. It's like, then why did you order the mushrooms? Well,
Right.
I had to try it. It's like, have you ever had a mushroom that you liked? No, I really hate them. Then why did you order the mushrooms? It's like, it's like comments and reviews like that. I've always been super harsh on. So
Mm.
again, it's not necessarily my best pick for a series as far as like the stylistic choice, but again, that's only a choice on that's only like me not necessarily like clicking with it as a top 10 favorite, right? I think it is definitely a good game, and I would say that it's definitely in the higher list of like game experiences, but it's not on my personal top 10 list because I just there's something there
It's
with
heavy.
the yeah, it's always it's the I think it's the heaviness plus it's like the characters. I really have to dig a character for me to really get into the game. If I don't dig the character, and if I can't put myself in their shoes, so to speak, then
Mm.
I don't actually like the game. And it's always weird because the types of characters that I've always clicked with has always been quite different than what a lot of people would expect. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of hard too when the performances of the characters, especially in the first 4 games, are so hammy, right? It's hard to be able to empathize with them when you're just making fun of them all the time. All right, moving on to number 3. This one came out of nowhere for me. I don't know anybody that was expecting this to happen, but the Wonder Woman game announcement being made by the same people that made Middle Earth, Shadows of Mordor, and then whichever one came before that. Hey, man, like, as long as you can make it believable that, like, this is a problem, right, with doing a Superman game. It's just the fact that he's the most powerful character in fiction, that putting him into a game and not having him be a god is
yeah, it's one of those scenarios where it's like you're playing Superman, and it's like oh dear, I got beat by the second rate like thug on the street.
yeah, it doesn't make
It's like
sense.
it doesn't make sense. It's not coherent. I mean, even Wonder Woman. That's the thing with the thing that's the best thing about DC isn't their heroes, it's their villains.
Yeah,
Their villains are super interesting. And there's only a handful of the heroes that actually have any like decent depth to them.
mm,
Whereas in the reverse is true in Marvel. It's like Spider-Man, like Peter Parker in many iterations is a vastly fascinating character. You know, despite his overpowered or her overpowered stuff, because there's so many different kinds of Spider-Man. But there's and I always forget the one Spider character that's my favorite, which is annoying, but it's not like they're all Spider-Man or woman, right? So
mm,
it's like I have a hard time remembering the like the side reference. I think it's Silk is what her
yeah,
name is,
yeah, yeah.
but like I really like the characters, and so the same thing here is like I am hoping that I think what's going to make this game is going to be the villains, and
Sure.
is going to be giving you a believable like power struggle. It's like I don't really want to see Wonder Woman knocked on, knocked out by a level 5 scrub mafia member.
Right.
It's like walking down the street and he just taps her on the back of the head in the right way and he goes, oh, down she goes. It's like I think that's really dumb. And so right now, just mechanically, I'm like, I don't know if I'll like it.
Right.
As far as like who's making it and the potential of it, I think it could very well be like one of the best games in the year that it releases. Like I legitimately think that. Right now, like logically, I'm looking at it. It's like
How do you do this? Yeah.
mechanically, it looks great. Like as far as the developers and the people behind it, but like lore wise, like interest wise, like villain wise, that's going to be something they're going to have to pull off really well. I don't know if they'll do it, but it's a hope, right?
Yeah, here's an idea that just came to mind. Imagine it's Themyscira, right? It's the home of the Amazons. A portal to Hades opens beneath the island, and a whole bunch of supernatural entities and like the rogues gallery of the Greek demigods start flowing through, and like she's got to fight Hades at some point. And because they're supernatural beings, they by default have a higher skill set than and a higher power level than anybody that lives on Earth, and maybe even that makes the cannon fodder a little bit more powerful. I could see that happening. And then when you're not fighting all those people, maybe you're just going around Themyscira trying to solve puzzles. I can imagine her swinging on the lasso of truth or something like that, just to solve the mysteries of the island. I think that could potentially work. Hopefully, that's one of many different things they could do, and I like what you suggested as well. We'll just have to see. It's going to obviously be a couple of years before, at least, before we see this game come out. But I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, and again, I think it very well could be one of the best games of whatever year it launches in. Like, again, guaranteeing that any game is launching in whatever window they announce for this year, for next year or the year after is like, I wouldn't necessarily like bank on that happening.
Right.
I expect as many delays this year as there was, this coming year as there was in the last like 12 months. So
yeah, and you know what? That's fine, just as long as it comes out finished when it comes out. 2 more games. Number 2. Well, I mean, anybody who knows me should be able to guess what my number 2 and number 1 are. But anyways, number 2 is Hellblade 2. They hit it out of the park starting off this show with Hellblade 2. It took me a minute to realize that the trailer that they were showing us wasn't CGI. And the reason why I didn't know, because I actually had the stream on mute. I didn't hear Jeff Keighley say that everything I was about to see was gameplay. But then when I started noticing like little cracks and you know how Senua was moving in that trailer, I was like, wait a minute, are you kidding me? And it's like
the one big thing that I like that you if you notice when you're watching it, the one thing that they're having some issues with, I believe,
the combat
is their spears and the combat. There's certain things that happen in combat where there's some weird phasing and clipping issues. And again, that's because I want to be fair. That's probably because the game's not done yet. Right?
Yeah,
like it's still a really long ways away. But it also comes when you're doing that hyper realism. It's harder to do, especially like impacts and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of really advanced tech that's very expensive to make that stuff pull off in the right way, like in the perfect way possible. And so it's interesting how they do that. Yeah.
And
so.
keep in mind that Ninja Theory isn't like the biggest studio in the world, right? They're a glorified. They're kind of like Bungie back in the day. They're kind of like a glorified indie studio. The fact that they were able to do this with this trailer, this is how good it looks now. I can't wait to see how realistic it looks when they got all the combat stuff ironed out. Once they make the water look good, oh man! And guys, if you haven't played the first Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, one of the most underrated games of the last 5 years. It's so wonderful, and I cannot wait to see what they do to reinvent what we already got in the first one, because the first one is utter perfection. But if this trailer has anything to go by, we can definitely say that it's going to be one of the better looking games that we played in a long time. And then number 1, obviously, Alan Wake 2. If you're a fan of the Remedy games, and you know how long we've been waiting for Alan Wake 2 or Max Payne 4 or like those games, you know how significant it was for that game to be announced last night. And oh my god, the fact that it's going to be M-rated, that it's going to be survival horror, and that it's going to take place within the wider established Remedy-verse, where, you know, we know that the universe of Control and the universe supposedly of Max Payne / Alex Casey, if you understand the lore that's going on behind that game, is all going to be interwoven here. This is going to be nuts. And if there's anybody that I trust in the games industry to consistently deliver me quality, it's Sam Lake and his story writing. And he said, like, ever since 2015, that we can expect Alan Wake 2 at some point. He's had that long to work on the story for this game. Just imagine how good it's going to be when it finally comes out in 2023. I cannot wait. It's immediately my number 1 most anticipated title, aside from maybe Starfield.
See, all I'm thinking about is like Alan Wake, like running around trying to survive. Like, you know, he's being hunted by, you know, monsters or something, and he's just like he's having a hard time. And then I just want to see Max Payne like rolling, like, you know, with in some kind of like convertible or something like that. You know, doing a donut while firing 2 guns out of each hand.
2 pistol bang bang.
I don't know how he's controlling the car, but you know, he's doing that with his, like, you know, his or something like that. And he whips around a corner, launches the vehicle. He flies out of it, like, you know, shooting multiple targets as he's flying down, rolls to a stop, like blows up the guy, and he's like, "What's your problem, mate? Like, get your stuff together." Then he flies off again. That's gonna be great. I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, and you know what's even better is that because Rockstar owns the rights to Max Payne 4, and this is sort of where the whole Alex Casey thing comes in, there's sort of workaround. It's looking like if they do bring in Alex Casey as a Max Payne surrogate, guess who's going to be playing him? It's going to be Sam Lake again, baby, from the first Max Payne. Can you imagine him just wearing the leather jacket and just doing the two pistol bang bang thing with the slow motion while in the Alan Wake game? Oh my God. I can't remember. I think the last time I was this excited about a crossover event was when the original Avengers movie was coming out, and that was over a decade ago. Only 2 more years. I can stay alive for that long. Yeah, me and Gaming University, if you're listening to this, dude, I can't wait to talk to you about this more as the months count down until the game comes out. So that's my top 5. Syb, did you have a list? Do you have any highlights that you want to share?
So, I mean, Evil West looks interesting.
Yeah.
We're continuing to see that, get really good. My biggest one that I lost my crap over was the Expanse game, because I really like the Expanse. It's a great narrative world. I'm hoping that this is the first of many, and so yeah, looking forward to that one. Looking forward to honestly, Homeworld's interesting, but the publishing studio we have some problems with. So that really that really sucks. Yeah, and those were just like pre-show stuff. The actual game is again this like the next Hellblade one. The Quantic Dream doing a High Republic game.
Very interesting.
Interesting. I'm going to, it has the general concept is like, oh great, this is exactly what I wanted in a Star Wars game. But then I kind of roll my eyes a little bit, because I know the writing teams behind it. I know the quality just isn't there. Like they tried this whole like High Republic thing once already, and it's gotten very little interest. And I kind of think that it like I'm just in general, I'm kind of rolling my eyes, going, you know what?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I hope, of course, that Quantic Dreams is up to the challenge, and I really hope it is. But yeah, it's not that much. So
yeah. I think my concerns are kind of similar to yours. Even though I think I like. I didn't mind Beyond Two Souls. It's not great. Obviously, their 2 major games are Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human. The writing in those games is hokey, but it's charming enough that it makes me like the game. But the problem is that type of writing appropriate for a Star Wars game? Can they pull it off? And, would the hokiness work if it's there? Or can they remove it and try to do a really, really good interactive story-focused game? That remains to be seen. I like the concept. We'll just have to wait and see. Either way, it's good to know that we're going to be getting a variety of Star Wars games. That means that if one of them suck, there's if there's a variety of them being made, there's got to be a better chance that one of them is going to be good, right? Yeah, sorry, go ahead, man.
No, past that, like Wonder Woman is again, I really stress that if they do it right, I think it might be one of the better games. So yeah, fingers crossed for that. Bethesda hinting that they have a bunch of stuff that hasn't been announced yet. That's interesting. That's very interesting. The fact that they're doing a big hiring blitz, and that they did so without doing a trailer. Normally what you do is you put together some kind of hey, we're making this game, it's in this world or universe or IP, check it out, it's going to be great.
Yeah, normally, I guess maybe they're
Yeah.
just saving it for their own stuff. Also, note that when they have said the stuff that they're working on, they normally say Elder Scrolls 6, but they didn't actually say that at the awards last night. They said Starfield, um, and then two other ones. Oh, Ghostwire Tokyo, and then whichever one's coming out after that.
Yeah, so we'll see, like, again, how or what direction it's coming in. Um, it's going to be interesting. So yeah, that like what they're working on, that leaves a lot of like again, I'm kind of hopeful. I'm like, well, I'm hoping that this is going to be good because, you know, maybe we will get more Fallout stuff. That's really what I want, is I want more Fallout games.
Yeah.
Like,
if you're gonna acquire Obsidian and Bethesda, you got to do.
Then not work on another Fallout game till Fallout 5, who knows, like in a decade or more. It's like, I really don't want them to do that. I really, really don't want them to do that. Like that would be extraordinarily disappointing.
Yeah.
But
very big mistake.
We do have more Fallout stuff coming. We have expeditions coming, which are a far more storyline type scenario. So, you know, I don't think it's going to be that great. I've been hoping for kind of like a remake, although I really don't like, you know, close knitted remakes.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but we'll see. There's a lot going there. So, and then probably my biggest one that I'm potentially hyped for, although it does depend on how it comes out, and I have not been able to spot, like, there's a couple things more on the Steam page than there was on, obviously, put out in the trailer last night. But the Dune 4X strategy game, very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I saw people like going gaga over all over Twitter and all over social media. Like, I'm not, I tend to like most game genres. That one I'm not too big of a fan of, but man, I'm happy for the people that are a fan of that, and especially of Dune. Given how much I like the movie and how much the lore sort of motivated me to want to go buy the books, I'm intrigued to see how the game turns out, and hey, maybe I'll give it a shot.
And then the other thing that's really that did get me interested in some stuff. Well, two. So Moon's favorite thing was the Doki world. Doki V or Doki 5. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that, but oh Lord, that thing's like a cuteness factory. Like, oh Lord, that is so adorably cute. I like cute things. I think they're great.
When Syb says it was Moon's favorite, he actually meant it's his favorite.
No, it's not my favorite. But it is interesting. Like, that is very interesting. The amount of stuff that you could do in that game did look like it was quite significant. So we'll see on that one. And then, I mean, obviously the best game was Among Us VR. Because, murdering your friends in VR is going to just be so much better than murdering them on a 2D, flat screen. So yes, get to murder your Among Us friends horribly and nightmarishly, and I trusted them. I'm like, oh yes, time being, you're not gonna stab me in the back. I'm on your side. We're trying to save the ship together. And she's like, oh yeah, just look around that corner. And I go, what's there? And then I'm like, oh no, nothing's here. Oh no.
Are you speaking from experience?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You they pulled the Marty McFly thing on you. Yeah, but Biff, you're forgetting one thing. What the hell is that? That's a good strategy. Like, we've been playing, me and my girlfriend and her sister have been playing this sort of rip-off version of Among Us. It's like set in the 1950s, and it's on a spaceship. It's on PS5. I just can't remember what the name of it was. But yeah, I should probably try that tactic sometime. That's good. Yeah.
So, and Among Us is like, it's like, I really hate those kind, like, because there's like, books and games and movies and stuff that have featured this kind of style before. And it's like, I always hate that so much. It's always like, oh my God, I really hate that. Like, I really do. Like, oh, it's so sad and like frustrating and like, yeah, yeah.
So is that it? Like for your personal highlights?
For the most part, yeah.
Okay.
Like there was a bunch of other stuff, like the movie trailers.
Yeah, like why? Yeah, the whole
the movie trailer. Golem, interesting. Obviously, sorry, that's a game. The Warhammer 40K looks interesting, but the movie trailers were also like the Sonic movie trailer specifically was pretty good.
Yes.
And the intro for that was honestly about as hilarious as it could have been. I really did have a good laugh about that.
I got the trailer right here.
He's like, I got the trailer right here. He pulls out a DVD. He's like, which of course, if it was on this DVD, we'd have a serious problem because there's nobody who's got it. And I thought that was funny. But then he upped himself again when he was like, guys, thanks for telling us about his legs and his teeth. Like, we're so glad that we didn't do that because, yeah, it turns out that it was kind of important. And I'm like, okay, good. He's like, I'm going to check this out. I'm like, all right. Then he gets Jim Carrey in there. And lately, Jim Carrey, I feel that the guy has been going through a rough patch, or he went through a rough patch a few years ago, but now he seems to be a little bit on the mend. And he's really doing some really good stuff now. Yeah. And his like little intro, like, grind it, but dude, grind it in the meat grinder.
Yeah.
Do you hear what I'm saying? And then the way that the other guy looks at the audience, he's like, oh, I think he's off the deep end. Very funny, very good. I'm really looking forward to what more we can see out of like good game movies and stuff like that. So.
Hey man.
So
yeah.
So not nearly as just overall, not nearly as corporatized. Like there was still a lot of that.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Sponsorships. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot of like, the ads, this stupid ad for somebody's Twitch channel or something like that, where they couldn't. The funniest thing is I think it was for some mobile company was sponsoring the ad. And they were reporting via like a cell phone, but they couldn't be bothered to like actually hook up like a proper microphone to this phone. So the audio was garbage. And I didn't really understand what they were saying whenever they were on screen. I was just like, who are these people and why are they talking? So yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah. That must have been one of the things that I missed when I was just like, normally when that stuff comes up.
It was all through the event. They kept on going back to these people, and it's like,
oh, those people. Okay, yeah, I know what you mean.
Who WTF and what in the world is going on? And it's just like, seriously scratched my brain over that. I like seriously was kind of like, this is sort of messed up, but. Whatever.
I thought you were just talking about like the gamers and the personalities from like YouTube and Twitch that were showing up was what you were talking about. No, but now I know what you mean. So, just one or two other things I wanted to just give honorable mention to. Cuphead DLC. I never played Cuphead. Yeah. Apparently, it's a really good game, and people.
Oh yeah. Ash has got a whole bunch of guides and stuff on the channel for that. So that's good because we got more. We'll have more guides coming, and we actually have some pretty decent numbers on those too. So thanks for watching that, guys. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Apparently, people have been waiting for that DLC for a very long time, and to have it finally announced, that was a highlight of the evening for some people. Sonic Frontiers. That looks interesting. It was a very good looking trailer. And, anybody who knows anything about Sonic knows that for a long stretch until Sonic Mania, there weren't that many great games. And people have sort of been looking to see Sonic really come into the next generation in the best possible way. When you think about Sonic and what makes him great, it's like going at super fast speeds, and if you can do that in a 3D level, kind of like what we did with Sonic Adventure back in the day, that'd be great. If they can pull that off in like an open zone type of game, it could be what we've been waiting for, but we'll have to see. Then let's see, Forspoken. I still think that looks interesting. Oh, and then the Elden Ring CG trailer. I mean, it's not gameplay, but it still gets me more and more hyped. Just sort of getting little tidbits about how the world works in regards to that game. And then finally, the Matrix Awakens thing. It's not a game. It's more of like a tech demo for Unreal Engine 5. But guys, if you have a PS5 or an Xbox Series X, go download this thing now. It's free and it's mind-blowing. The stuff how far we've come technologically in regards to games. Once you can sorry, I'm sort of stumbling over my words because I'm still in shock at how good it is. In that playable demo, The Matrix Awakens, you can fly a drone through an actual city that functions like a city. There are cars going by. You can look inside windows and see fully detailed rooms. And I can't believe how real it looks. I think by the time we get to Unreal Engine 6, being able to distinguish between the actual game and reality will become impossible. It really looks that good. You got to go and check it out. Saib, honestly, I'm saying this to you. If you, do you have no, you don't have a PS5. Well, I wonder if it's on PC. It might be, because it's Unreal Engine 5. That's Epic, right? Yeah, so it might be there.
Yeah, it's probably on Epic. It's not. What was the name of that thing again?
The Matrix Awakens. It's sort of trying to help promote the new movie, and they're like, "Oh, what's the difference between digital reality and actual reality?" And after playing that thing, I'm actually questioning it myself. It really is that gorgeous to look at. So that was the last thing announced last night, and yeah, that's been pretty much it. So overall, Game Awards. I can't really give an accurate verdict on it because, like I said, I was playing Halo while the thing was on, but the announcements that were made seem to have been pretty solid, even though the majority of them I don't really care too much about. Like I said at the beginning, there seems to be a handful of games for everybody that watched that appeals to them, and so I call that a win. Side final impressions about the Game Awards?
I still think there's a lot of very unhealthy practices going on there. I still find it laughable that it's the Video Game Awards and the community of players can only get 10% of the vote in. And if you're on Reddit, we'll count 30% of your vote.
Yeah, it's like, a bit weird.
It's like that stuff. Like, I don't like that. If they want to do awards, if they want to do it like that, then for a lot of this stuff, they gotta have it like YouTuber of the year, player choice, like esports player. Those things I think need to be just straight up people who vote. I really think it should be people who vote, and maybe like the devs and whatnot can get like a 30% like rating or influence on it. But like, good Lord, some of the stupidity of what they're doing is just, it's really terrible. Like, the 30% from Reddit, it's like, that's still nothing, dudes. And you're calling it a People's Choice Award. Like if you really care about that, let us know what the people actually voted for. Stock that up every year.
Yeah. Not just with the one award where they take that into account. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which went to It Takes Two, so at least the players got that right.
Right. Yeah. And I think it would be, and it's just, I would really like to see those vote numbers. I would really like to see those tallies. And I would really like, because again, if Rotten Tomatoes comes out and tells us that they're going to tell us what movies are good and they're not going to show us any numbers, they're just going to let us know, what its rating is after the 90% of the official designated reviewers have said their piece. Like, to me, that makes me a little sick.
Yeah.
It's like, no, thank you. Like, really, no, thank you. I just think that that's not very good or accurate. So yeah, we'll obviously it's going to keep getting worse. It's going to show up from time to time. And that's because you can't trust the media. You can't really trust these organizations, the people reporting on this stuff, that have major corporate interest in this stuff. We've shown this before, how big game companies own, via directly or indirectly through sister company, some of the people reporting on their games. And it's always positive. Gee, I wonder why.
Battlefield 2042 getting a 7 on IGN? Come on, that's totally legit.
Oh yeah, everybody loves oh wait, you mean they don't and they're having player problems. Oh gee, I wonder it's stuff like that where it's like, can you stop lying to us?
Yeah, we know you're doing it. Like, if anybody knows that they're doing it, it's the gamers.
And it's been, and just the disappointments that we've had over the past few years, it's been nonstop. Like, it's been a deluge of disappointment, one after the other, after the other, after the other. We're having a hard time really talking about upcoming games now, because it's like, oh, I'm pretty sure we can't trust what they're saying, right?
Right? Yeah.
It seems quite annoying and unhealthy, but hopefully you cross your fingers and hope that the industry will eventually learn one day, right?
They have to. Enough of these failures happen.
That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
So.
Well, if you're looking for a game that actually came out in a decent state, you should definitely play Halo Infinite this weekend. That's exactly what I'll be doing, and expect a review for that on my personal channel. And then, obviously, I'm expecting Elden Ring will be pretty good, and a couple other games that are coming out early next year that were announced at the Game Awards that look pretty good as well. So that does it for our coverage of the Game Awards 2021, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to our coverage of it. Listen, let us know what you thought. Do you agree with some of our sentiments? Do you disagree with some of our sentiments? What were some of your favorite announcements that were made? Let us know in the comment section below. Make sure you hit that like button, because when you do that, it not only tells the YouTube algorithm that this video is worth watching, but all the other videos on this channel are worth watching. So please do that. It's free. It doesn't hurt. I promise you. I want to thank Side, as always, for doing the show with me and allowing me to do the show as a part of the Triple S League brand. Do you want to just tell people about the other channels, Side?
Yeah, I mean, check out our main channel, where we're really getting that channel back to just guides. YouTube really hates it when you do multiple content things at the same time. So we are really looking at tweaking and creating some new stuff. We really have a ton of new stuff planned, but we're going to try and keep the main league channel mostly about just straight up either gameplay or game guides. And then we're going to see about the rest of this kind of stuff going forward. It's been a struggle recently because of those, frankly, bizarre rules. The rules are always changing. For a while you were punished if you had two channels, and then you were rewarded ridiculously so, but then that got nerfed down. And again, it's just a lot of like what are you guys doing? Are you intentionally trying to screw all this up? Like seriously, what is going on? So yeah, concerning, annoying, and hopefully we'll see something better in the future.
Yeah. Speaking of that, if you guys could do me a really, really simple favor, just go over to my YouTube channel, Max Derrat. It's very easy to find, and just click on the most recent video that came out. Just like Saib said, if you do anything beyond just your normal type of content, it doesn't do as well. If you just click on it, you don't even have to watch it if you're not interested. That would help me out a lot, and it would help out a lot of your favorite YouTubers if you did that for them as well. And yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me doing everything, just there, or on Twitter at Max Derrat. Thank you guys. This was a lot of fun to record, and until we do this again, will we be able to do this next week, Saib? Or will he be on?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we'll do this again next week. Until we do this again, today is the 10th. Until we do this again on the 17th, if I'm not out watching Spider-Man, just want to remind you, as always and as per usual, stay yellow.